Hello, it's Nikki. I've just made a post about this, but I also wanted to share a video about it because sometimes I know personally when you read something on the internet, you maybe don't know the context or what is behind it or who is behind it. So I just wanted to bring it to life a little bit in a video today and talk about Jam and Plan and why I created it, and why I have this lovely discount on it this weekend. And this comes from a very real place, from conversations that I am having on a day-to-day basis. When you are a child, that countdown to the 6 weeks holidays is quite exciting and you're bouncing off the walls, and we were maybe thinking, oh my gosh, we break up on Friday, I can bring my own toy in, it's going to be fantastic. But as a parent or as a freelancer, self-employed small business, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, right, summer holidays, here we go. And also, whether or not you have children or not, sometimes there is this pressure as somebody who works for themselves and has always done, that you have to create the best summer ever. And that's not always easy when you run your own gig, because if you take yourself out of that, for most people, that means that the income stops. And so usually at this time of year, people are feeling all of the feels. And it really made me think about why I launched this and what was happening when I did launch this course. So many people have done this over the years and completed this Jam and Plan course in various scenarios, iterations. But I launched it on the 8th of June 2020. And just to say before we continue, I am going to talk a little bit about lockdown. So if that is not for you, please click and find something else. But at that time, I had a nearly 5-year-old. He hadn't started reception. He was kind of, nursery was closed, I believe. And I had a cruising 10-month-old. You know, when they like go around the furniture and you're thinking, oh, they're safe. No. She was at that kind of chaos stage, which I quite like. I quite enjoy when they start moving and walking and balancing and dangling off things, but it doesn't half mess with your nervous system. And for us as a family, we were all at home, like many people were. I think that was really a time where most of us were in lockdown. And as a couple of freelancers, lots of elements of our work had completely closed down. They were not available, the industries were not there, and we had to think really fast. And fortunately, I had a coaching business that I had been running for some time, and it was great. It was great in terms of that perspective. But what I was hearing from my clients at that time was that sense of, I don't know what to do. Or as my friend would say, I don't know if I want a shit or a haircut. And it was that, you know, lots of us were homeschooling. Lots of us were all rattling around in a very small space. And we didn't really have the option to just stay in that place of, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what to do next. We had to come up with some answers, because the only thing that we knew in uncertain times, as it was always mentioned, was that this was going to go on for a while. And I think at that point of June 2020, many of us had that realization of, oh, okay, we thought, maybe I thought naively, this will just be a few weeks and then it'll be fine. And it wasn't. And so by the time June came along, it was a time for action. It was a time for making plans. It was a time for clarity. It was time for, right, what am I going to do next? So I had photographers on that first round. I had people who were interior designers who always did on-site work. I had filmmakers. I had chefs whose restaurants had closed down. And it was such a mixed bag of people who needed answers and needed to rework their business model. So let me read you what I was saying about this. The reason also at that time, and this is more prevalent now, I guess, because people weren't doing that at the time. They weren't traveling, they weren't going places all over the world. But certainly now, and this is me doing coaching for a decade now, there is such an unhealthy narrative around investing in yourself. Now, I have invested in myself continuously, but I think we have to be very careful about whether we're investing in ourselves for the good of ourselves, or are we investing ourselves because of FOMO or because of how that looks. And so this narrative, when people say, unless you spend thousands and it scares you to the point of whatever, you're not serious. Or unless you come on my 5-star retreat that I'm hosting in Bali, you're not going to have the breakthrough, or you're not going to have the transformation. And this is what I want to read you. There are times when you can and you need to be serious without spending thousands of pounds. And there are times when, for a number of reasons, you can't get on a 12-hour flight. But you do need answers, and you need them fast, and you need to be able to find yourself maybe sitting on your living room floor with your 2 small children thinking, how am I going to create the money that I need to create for what I need to do? And I know this personally, and I know this from talking to thousands of clients over the last 10 years. When you're in that place of overwhelm, of getting lost, of not feeling like you have enough time, or not knowing what to focus on, or how to make money, or in what way, you know, when you just come to that standstill and you don't know where to maneuver next, you are never alone. And I want to say that because when you are in that place, you can feel the most alone ever. And you seek out all of the people who have sorted it, all of the people who can do all of the things. And then you're left with, well, why can't I do that? Or I've messed up, or I've failed, or I feel ashamed because of X, Y, and Z. But I want to reassure you first and foremost, and if this is the only thing you take away from this video, I'll be very happy with this. There are peaks and troughs in business and in life. And sometimes when you're in that situation, it's about feeling it and noticing it and really seeing what is going on. It also doesn't help at this time of year when everybody is talking about their summer holiday, and maybe you are someone who is like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything. I've sometimes felt like that at Christmas, actually. I'm like, oh gosh, I haven't created a display or a wreath display or a Christmas display on my front doorstep, or I haven't booked to go and see Disney on Ice or whatever, because there have been some years in business where it's just not that business year has not been that business year. So Jam and Plan very much comes from that place, and I'm just reading it as I'm talking, that's why I keep looking down. It's a course that is very close to my heart because it can help you with overwhelm, it can help you with clarity, a sense of direction, aka am I doing, reassurance, building back up your confidence and getting those confidence muscles working and thriving again. And I often think about it as that sort of dinner lady energy. You know, when a dinner lady, you felt like you were being scooped up, and they would take you over and they would sit you on a bench and go, do you know what, it's going to be all right. And they'd give you that squeeze, and then you felt like you could kind of go again. So it will scoop you up if you're spinning, if you're exhausted, if you can't think about what to do, you can't think straight, or you just actually want to hide under your duvet or slide down a wall like Pat Butcher. It will look after you in that way. So the course itself is 4 hours. And this is very specifically done. Because once again, when you are in that time and place and that headspace, a weekend retreat is almost like it's too much. And quite often when you're in that headspace, you probably have other plates going on. So I've had people who have done the course, for example, who have said, I'm listening to this in the car because I have to go visit somebody in hospital. Or I'm listening in the car whilst I'm waiting for my kid to come out of dance class. Or I've got it on in the background, session 1, whilst I'm cooking the dinner because it's the only time. Because as soon as those kids go to bed, I need to work and I need to do what I need to do. So it's really, really flexible. But what it will give you is that sense of comfort, of ideas, and that all important switch into right, I now know what I need to do. And that is so crucial in making moves going forward. In a way, when you're in that headspace, you don't need the full picture. You don't need all of the moves. You just need the next move. And to be able to have the guts, the courage, the sense of self, the self-trust to do the next thing, that is what will create momentum. And in a time of social media where people talk about the dream life or the ultimate destination, that is always made up of tiny little steps. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because most people won't show those steps along the way. They won't show the hard work. They won't show all of the things that they're doing because it's much more impressive. It's much more compelling just to show the finished article. But most of those moments don't just happen overnight, and they don't happen without usually blood, sweat and tears. So I'm going to put my phone down. Jam and Plan is an online course and it's yours for life. It's 4 hours, and I hope, and my intention when I created it was that it will be your pal whenever you need it. And over the years, I have purchased many courses, many workshops, many online products, and they have been purchased for a reason. And many of them I have gone back to again and again and again. And one of them that I went back to the other day, I actually purchased in 2017 when I was on my knees. And it was about this time of year in 2017. And we went back to North Wales, where I spent many holidays because my grandparents used to live there. And I took my son, who was nearly 2, and I felt really emotional about the place anyway, but I also just was so exhausted. And I just remember being on that holiday and just crying the whole time. I couldn't see the wood for the trees. And I remember purchasing that course that I just mentioned earlier at the time, and it's almost been like that pal to me every step of the way because I've revisited it every year. So that's my hope with Jam and Plan, is that it's there whenever you need it. There's 25% off the course until Sunday. So if you're using this weekend of going, right, I need to work out what I'm doing for the summer and beyond, it's going to be the perfect accompaniment because it's going to give you a structure. It's going to give you a formula, a process to follow. And also, I'm going to give 3 people 25% off the Done With Me version. So if you want one of those, check out the previous post because that's where some of the links are. But you're going to have to get in quick. One of the places I believe has already gone, so there's just 2 left. Come and talk to me. Let me know what you need. Any questions, of course, email me, hello@nikkiraby.com, or you can just DM me, and or you can use the messenger button on my website, which I am still in love with, if you hadn't noticed, nikkiraby.com. I will leave it there, and just to know that I see you, I'm thinking about you, and I'm always cheering you on every step of the way. Bye.